and welcome back to another speed build video. My name's Jess and today I'm building in San Sequoia on a 20 by 30 lot, and today's build is a tiny starter home. So I really wanted to build a starter home for San Sequoia, but I also wanted to build a tiny home. So this is what I came up with, and all of it is based around one item in particular, which is this window from Growing Together. I really wanted to use it in a build, and so I thought, why not use it in a tiny house? And I'm really happy with what I was able to come up with to make this just kind of blend in to the build. And I think I was able to match the vibe of the window itself. And I'm really glad I was able to use it because I did have some trouble in other builds I tried using this window, just getting the spacing right. So if any of you are builders and have any tips for using it in a build, let me know. I just didn't feel like I could get it to blend in very nicely. But I really love how this build came out, and I'm not surprised because this is a build I built for my own gameplay. So I usually just do builds because I'm inspired by something in particular and what I think will work well for the game at the time. But I hardly do builds that I actually play in. So this was one that I made for my own sim. So I'm really happy to share it with you, and I definitely love how it turned out. The one thing that's nice about doing a tiny house, and this is a micro home, so it is only 32 tiles, but the thing that's nice about that is that you can decorate it up a little bit more, even though it is a starter home. So this is a pretty well decorated home, if I do say so myself, but I did try to save simoleons wherever I could. So one thing is using some of these fence pieces from Live Edit, and this is actually a piece from high school years, and it blends so perfectly with that siding that came with Growing Together. So happy with how this ended up looking, and I did have trouble getting the fence to fit how I originally had it when I first built this. So it just took me a few tries, but I did end up figuring it out. I just had to do some overlapping and it finally worked. So yeah, but I was so happy to remember we have this piece in Live Edit because it just really brought this build together. So here you can see I'm adding in stone pieces. So I really did want this to feel kind of modern, which I admittedly am not the best at modern landscaping. So I'm still learning, but I thought this piece from Live Edit as well would work really nicely around the build, just to add in more of that like square, not harsh lines, but sharper lines in this build. And so I really like how it ended up looking, and I feel like it really brought the landscaping together. Now I did place it a quarter tile off, so I did have to adjust them all, but I just did that off camera because I figured you wouldn't want to see that. But so I struggled a little bit with that fence and those stones, but once I got to the landscaping, you can see here, everything went a bit more smoothly. I kept it really simple, as you can see. I really wanted just some green bushes and plants, and I just added the little white lavender bush, whatever plant it's actually supposed to be, for just that little touch of color. And you can see I'm using these rocks from Outdoor Retreat, and I really wanted to use them, one, because they look nice, but two, because there is a bunch of them together, and so you get a little bit more bang for your buck. And doing a starter home, when you have to pay for rocks, you got to be careful with how much you're spending. So it worked out really nicely. And I always like to add them around a pond area. I just think they look really nice. So of course I added in a pond to a starter home because it is free and always looks great. So one thing I wanted to do, which is similar to the last tiny home I did in San Sequoia, is I figured the actual house wouldn't take up that much space, and there are no like 20 by 15 lots. So I just wanted to make the outside of the build look like it blended into the neighborhood. So I just used a bunch of trees and added in that pond area, and then that fence area, it just feels like, oh, that's where the lot begins, even though the lot is much bigger than that. So I really like how it ended up looking, and I think it blends in really nicely, but the pond gives it like its own little area. And of course, the pond is nice for gameplay because your Sims can kind of wade in the water and look for frogs, stuff like that. So here you can see I'm adding in just a few decorations to the outside because I didn't have a ton of simoleons to spend out on the patio area, but I did add in a picnic table, which I was happy about. But here you can see I added in this nice creamy wallpaper, and that's because I'm going for definitely like a warm tone throughout the interior of the build. I ended up starting off with this particular bed, and with this bed I wanted to keep that kind of color scheme throughout the build. So it's a bed from Tiny Living, and it's one that I don't use too often, but I thought had kind of a modern look and would work well with this more modern build. And so what I did for the bedroom area, as you can see, is I used those wall pieces from Eco Lifestyle to kind of add in a faux wall, just so there is some separation between the bedroom and every other room. And I really like the effect of this. I think it looks really, really cute. Now, this rug I really liked. I've never used before, but I thought it kind of looked like sand dunes, and it had this really nice warmth and movement to it. So I ended up using that in the bedroom. And the rest of the build, I just kept that really warm feeling. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think everything kind of blends together with the that painting and that kind of dark, warm black color on the wall. And I'm just, yeah, really, really pleased with how everything came together. And here you can see I'm using these two side tables to create a console table. That's from Desert Luxe. And I really wanted that triangle piece because I thought it would mimic the triangle window. So I was really happy with that little addition. Just small things make me happy while I'm building. But I did say I made this for my own gameplay, but I haven't really had a ton of time to actually do some gameplay. So definitely let me know if you're enjoying the new gameplay. I did do some testing with infants, and that was really, really fun. But I haven't spent much time otherwise doing any of the gameplay. So I definitely love to hear what you guys are thinking of growing together. So far, it seems like I'm hearing all positive things. And definitely from the build items, I'm really enjoying building with them. And I think they just add in a really cool element to the game that we didn't necessarily have before. And I didn't use a ton of items from growing together, but the little pieces I did, I know I'll be using them for now on. Like they'll be in every build I do, like this backslash. It's going to be so hard for me to go back to any other tile that we have in the game because this one is just so much better. The swatches we have are beautiful. I'm going to do my best to not use that exclusively, but we'll see. It's probably going to be my backsplash for many builds to come. But you can see I'm of course cluttering up some kitchen shelves. I kept it really simple, and I was so happy I remembered there was a keepsake box, so I really wanted to add that into this build. So I just put it on the shelf there, and I think it looks really nice, and then also adds a nice deep warm tone to the shelf area. So there was just enough space to add in a console table, and I thought that could be a nice area for your sim to add different items on, and you could be more, kind of customize it a little bit more over there. And here you can see we're moving on to the bathroom, and in the bathroom I kept that simple warm tone throughout. I really, really like how it came together, and I used this piece from Tiny Living, the shelf. And I just think that was perfect. But that actually means we're coming close to the end of the video. So I want to thank you so much for watching and supporting my little channel here on YouTube. I hope you have a great week, a great day. Thanks again for watching. Bye.